I'm here with
Judy,
Judy. What?
Tran. Chris and I are not related.
Where were you born?
I was actually born here in Ho Chi Minh City and immigrated to the States when I was in 5th grade,
How old is fifth grade?
10 years old. So I know how to read, write, and speak Vietnamese, but not always because I'm ethnically Chinese. So growing up was just Cantonese in the household, and I didn't know any Vietnamese until 1st grade in Vietnam, like Vietnamese school, and that's how I learned Vietnamese.
So your mom and dad is Chinese, born in Vietnam,
Yeah.
and y'all roots go back up into China.
Yeah, I think my grandparents were born in China.
Whereabouts?
So my dad's side is in Guangzhou. Yeah, Guangdong.
Guangzhou.
Guangdong.
Guangdong.
Guangdong is like the province, I guess. And then
Canton, right?
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
So Cantonese, and then my mom is from Hainan.
Oh, you have to do like the Vietnamese version.
Hainan.
Oh, okay. So then,
Very Vietnamese.
so
now.
then, you grew up in District 5, or which district did you? Which hood?
11.
Which is
Yeah.
also Chinese. considered
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Chinatown.
very, yeah. And
And-
then 5.
And how was your? Do you remember like growing up here?
Yeah, I remember a lot because my dad used to work for this big corporation. So then I just remember like the driver come and get him every morning, and then I just like jump into his car and like have this like fun daughter and like dad like father daughter moment.
So you were like the daughter in Russia.
What?
You don't know. No. Okay, never mind.
That I felt like we were pretty like, like not poor. We had helpers, had driver and stuff like that. Like to me, I was like the princess. Like like when I go to my dad's work, everyone knows me. At home, I was like the little princess. But then going to America, I think we just lost everything. Like the luxury, and then my dad had to learn how to cook and kind of like be on his own, more independent. But yeah, my dad retired early to go with us and immigrated to the U.S.
So do you remember, like how, your mom and dad being like, okay, guys, we're gonna leave, and we're
Yeah,
gonna go
she
into a
didn't-
new world.
She didn't tell me at all. Like it was a surprise. So then I think, well, now thinking back, she said the paperwork to move, like get sponsored there, it was 10 years. So then I think right when I was born, that's when she submitted all the paperwork. And I remember vividly 5th grade, because you have to take this test to get into middle school, like in Vietnam in 6th grade. And during that, like 2nd semester or something like that, she was like, hey, we're gonna go đi Mỹ, like đi chơi. And I was like, oh yay, okay. And she packed a lot, and I'm like, we going like for a couple weeks, why we like packed so much? And I remember I was like, I need to bring my backpack to study and stuff like that. But then when we got there, she was like, well, welcome to America, we're gonna stay here.
I like how Vietnamese parents they don't tell you the truth until
They
it's
don't.
after. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna trick my own kids, and then
There's no communication, right? Well, like
we're gonna have fun.
yeah.
We'll be back.
So I remember I cry like so much. Like I cry every day because I'm a very social person. So I remember I'm like, oh my God, my friends. Like I have to like let them know. So I remember I learned how to like long distance dial when I was 10.
Wow.
So I had to like dial so many numbers and then like call each friends up to like let them know like, hey, I'm in America.
So as you're going into America, whereabouts was?
LA.
So did you stay in LA?
Yeah, the entire time until like recently moved up to San Francisco for work. But yeah, we stayed with my aunt for the first 6 months. Like share one room with like 3 people, or 4, and then we slowly kind of like an immigrant story, right? Like, because I think in America if you don't have credit, you can't do anything at all, like rent home, buy a car, or anything. So then slowly, like each year, we rented like a super small apartment for like 5 people to live in, and then like move up and like buy a house after a couple years and stuff.
So did your parents have to essentially like reestablish themselves?
Kind of, but they didn't really do much. Both of them pretty much kind of worked here, saved up the money enough to like convert that over to the U.S. Yeah. So then from like a big, like 4-story home that I used to grow up in, like into this like one small apartment, I'm like, what's happening? I don't like America. Take me back.
As you're going through this, like, did you start identifying yourself? Like, you're like, I'm still Vietnamese, or was there a point where it's like, wait, I feel more American?
I think not until like maybe like in my 20s. That's when I feel a little bit more Americanized. Start hanging with like just like more American friends then, like college and then after college. Because even in high school, the part that we moved to was very Asian still. Like I didn't really learn English fully until maybe at the end of high school. Because every friends I made was just either Chinese or Vietnamese, and we just speak that language. So, and well, like I have always had identity crisis because I'm ethnically Chinese, living in Vietnam, and I thought, like we're Chinese, and then I had to learn Vietnamese, and then in Vietnam, I'm like, well, I'm Chinese, and then in America, I'm like, well, I'm Vietnamese, because I was born here, so it's a lot.
So how was, before you even hit 20, like how was that Vietnamese, Chinese, Asianness, like how did you grasp that? Did you lean
didn't.
towards one side or like?
Well, we're more Chinese at home, but then everything we do is like also very Vietnamese too. Like, like grew up here and stuff like that. I don't think I seriously had like a serious problem with it because when I was with my Chinese friend, they don't really accept me as Chinese. Because if I speak Chinese, I have a Vietnamese accent, right? And then if I speak Vietnamese, I have a Chinese accent. So then for my Vietnamese friend, because I was born in Vietnam, so then they know, like kind of take me in as like I'm Vietnamese, but not like a full Vietnamese too. So that was hard until like I remember this girl I met randomly. I had trouble with my accent because in English, like when I speak English, I do have accent sometimes. And then I was like really insecure about until that day. I just woke up and like found myself. She was like, she's from Hong Kong and born in America, Cantonese. And I remember talking to her. I was like, oh, I get really shy speaking Chinese to Chinese people because I get kind of like shamed at, like, oh, you're not Chinese, like you have accent and stuff like that. And she was like, but that's who you are, like that's where you're from. Shouldn't you be proud?
So as you're going to your 20s, start getting into work. So what is work life?
I'm in my 30s now, so.
Surprise.
Yeah, not
What
early
did you do
30s
for-
too.
what did you do for back then?
Back then, starting or like recent? Recent.
Let's go a little bit of A to B.
Was A to B?
Starting to recent.
Oh, starting to. Well, I'm in my 30s, so the career line is pretty long.
Look at all the comments. Oh my god, I can't believe she's 30. Anyways, go ahead.
I studied finance. So right after college, I went to Chase and worked there for 3 years.
Doing
Relationship banker, which is kind of opening accounts for like personal and business. And I did that because I really liked it because I'm very social and I speak a lot of languages. So then they really like that. I'm able to help like with the
all the
Chinese.
aunties and uncles came to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like Vietnamese, Chinese, right? Like Mandarin, Cantonese. So it was good because like it was also commission based too. But I remember in the moment I'm like, well, and also as an immigrant, I feel like any job is not good enough. Like every year, like I switched so many jobs because every time it's like I'm not good enough. Like this is not it. So then after that, I really wanted to get into tech because I feel like the impact that I make is bigger versus like helping one client at the time. So I went back to school for product marketing, and then from there, kind of like gain my experience in like marketing, product management, and then fast forward to now. Well, I got laid off last year. I used to work at Meta as a product partner marketing manager. I loved my role because I was in commerce for 10 years. And that role was just connecting, like how do we help sellers sell more, basically, right? So I loved my job. But unfortunately, with the whole tech layoff, my entire team got impacted. So now. But I think everything happens for a reason because after that, kind of ignite like whatever inside me to do what I'm doing now. So,
How much were you making at Meta?
base transparency 160. With other stuff, close to 200. Yeah.
That's like coding. Is that or do coders get paid even more at
Oh,
Meta?
yeah.
Oh my god.
So I met a 23 years old because I used to go to a lot of networking events, and then one of them was like happy hour at Meta. This guy literally just finished school, got recruited to work at Meta, and he was like, "Oh, my starting is 230 plus whatever, right?" And I'm like, "You're 23."
How do you feel about that?
What? Like age or money?
Both.
I mean, I feel like I wish I started in tech way earlier, but don't regret it because I feel like I'm very knowledgeable and like I've done so much. Like I worked at every thing. Like I worked at restaurants before during college. There's just like a lot of things that I learned that you can't buy. So
You were in the right direction in terms of like this is what you want to do. You want to go bigger. So then you're working at Meta. Were you happy?
yeah, that was like my goal, like my dream. Like once when I I remember in 2016 when I switched the career to tech, and I remember wrote in my like dream board, I'm like one day like I'm gonna work at Facebook at the time, and then yeah, it's like weird like happened to work there, and then like I went back home to my parents' house and I see the like the whiteboard, I'm like wow, I did it. Yeah.
And then getting laid off. What happened?
Was not sad. We got notified at like 5 a.m. and like none of us slept that day. I remember like on my phone just like looking at it, kind of like relieved a bit because it was like a 3 months long kind of process. Because we got severance as well, so a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's okay. It's like, you get money." To do what you want to do, and then you find another job again. But I feel like it was not just like a job for me. It was just not like a role that you just go in and clock in, clock out. I really liked what I was doing, so then I just switched gear to do full-time content creating. Yeah.
Which kind of brings us back to like, why the hell are you
Why I'm
here? What are you here?
I'm
What
talking to you?
Yeah. How do you know me? Like how?
I reached out to you.
And then you were building or making content on the side, or like after you got laid off, this like okay, I'm gonna start making content and try this new thing.
No, I started, so the content I make is golf, like everything golf. And I started golfing like at the end of COVID. So I've been golfing for almost 4 years now. And well, pull it back a little bit, how I got started, because I just moved to the Bay Area, no friends. And then COVID happened, started a new job, still no friends, and no one to like golf with. So then I started my Instagram page to document my journey, how to get better at golf, but then also like to connect with other golfers. I was doing that occasionally, not really focused on it, and then it grew pretty fast because I think Instagram likes new creator. So that I think I grew to 10K within like 3 months, not doing like much work either. And then from there, like after laid off, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna use my platform and really build out a community. So I start launching different things. Like I launched a golf club for ladies because then I felt like at the time I couldn't find any community that I can like be with and like go golf with, like especially for in the golf world, just it's just men 90% of the time. So then I launched my golf club with a friend, and then been doing that full time.
A year.
It's gonna be a year, the ladies golf club. So I'm back now, reach out to him because I'm working to launch my golf apparel brand, and that was my dream when I was like a little kid. Cause
Are you gonna give me an affiliate link for this? Do I get an affiliate link?
yeah, I'll get you stuff. Yeah, it's female stuff, but it's been my dream to like be in business, like entrepreneur, because both of my parents are entrepreneurs. And I remember like seeing my mom carrying a briefcase, like red lipstick with like business suit. I'm like, one day I want to be that. So then kind of always inspired me to do that. And then I got the severance last year, and not a lot, like my friends encouraged me to pursue it because it's a huge gap for like women of golf apparel that more performance based rather than lifestyle. So then I just take that money to reinvest into the brand itself, and then coming back here because I'm working with a factory here to produce clothes, and I kind of want to give back to where I'm from, and like, one day maybe I have my own factory here, and then if that's the case, then I'll probably give even more back to the community.
So would you say like everything, like it doesn't happen overnight where it's like I'm gonna be a content creator and start building a business. So then would you say everything kind of happened for a reason? Type of thing, kind of cheesy.
That's like if I would have like a tattoo, that would be like the tattoo line, like everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it's crazy when you look back, like
'Cause
all
I'm
the
sure-
dots connected.
Like I'm sure you're using all the skills that you learned from like working in the bank industry, to like, even like PMing, like project managing everything. But it's like just you now.
Yeah, a little bit hard because I feel like the culture in Vietnam is a little bit different, like the work culture. So I'm still adapting to it.
In what way? Can you elaborate?
Like, it's very messy because I think, well, especially at Meta too, everything has to be really organized. And then even before Meta in tech, like you're your own boss. Like you have your own ownership. Like whatever you do, you have to plan it out, document everything. So that's what I'm used to. And then working with the factory here in Vietnam, it's like they ask you one thing, it's like popping up everywhere, and there's no like one main drive or like folder. So then I have to like project manage myself and their team. Like, hey, this is how you do it. If you need something, like I'm gonna build a board for us to move through different approval stage, or else they just like, I don't know, like just contact you when they need you something for something small without like documenting. Yeah.
So you've been doing your own business for a year now, almost a year. And is this the end all be all? Like this is like if this has to work. There is no plan B.
It's a lot of money. I didn't know that was gonna be this much money because I launched I had a business before in pet industry, and that was a test, like to build my playbooks in case that like one day if I'm gonna like have a business, like a bigger business, is gonna be the playbook.
Who are you today? Do you still deal with identity struggles, or have you found going into your 30s like this is who I am now? Like
I feel like who you are always changes. Like, with the hobbies you have, the friends that you have, the circle around you. I've grown a lot since COVID because I felt like I was so burnt out right before COVID, and that led to golf. Like, golf saved my life. Like, I was able to meet other friends. And then within golf, I think the better I get, the more confidence I get too. Not just the skills in golf, but like skills in life. Like I feel very confident more and more, each day. Yeah, like you should start golfing too.
so would you consider living here?
Yeah, like I think I would if I make more money. Yeah.
What's more money?
Like I would live here if I make how much I was making at Meta.
You'd be like top 1% here if you were like Meta wage.
So, like I want, someone to clean the house.
It's pretty common here, bro.
You don't tip.
Yes, we do. We tip for everything, bro. The first thing comes out is like, this is the thing. Here, ma'am. Here's
Okay,
15,
so-
20, 30.
Like pet your dog or tip
15,
my dog.
20. I think that's why I'm less depressed. I haven't seen that in like 6 months.
Because you're like, like when you buy coffee, like tip, and you're like, oh.
I'm like, I came up to the till. Why the hell, bro?
Yeah.
I don't miss that at all. What else would you tell that Judy of the
Like,
15, 14-year-old when you're going through that?
No, I feel like it's hard to tell someone unless you have to go through the experience. Because I got bullied from
Yeah, but
other
this is- look,
people.
you have to look in the like you're talking to you. It's 15-year-old you that knows everything. What would you say?
Was it baby Judy? 15 years old Judy, just be you and don't continue to shine and don't let other dim your light. Because I think when I was in Vietnam before I moved there, I was like a very because I was like a princess. So I was like very like confident, like I know what I want kind of thing, and no one really bullied me at all. I don't bully people. I'm nice. But yeah, like when I went there, people bully me. Like, oh, you don't speak English. You don't speak the right Chinese. You don't speak.
So yellow and yellow hate? Like
Yeah.
yellow kids, Asian kids are bullying you.
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
For
Like
what?
for how I dress too. Because
Really?
then like my parents were, like it's different, right? Like in Vietnam, no one really care how you dress back then. And then going there is like so like, oh, you have to get the Converse shoes. And that was like $50, $60. Like my mom's gonna get it for me. But yeah, like I would get bullied like, oh, like your shoes, are they from like, I don't know, Payless or like,
So was there a time where you had to like fit that mold so then you would get bullied less? Or you just kind of like,
kind of, but then I also know that like it's not that my mom can't afford it, it's just like she doesn't want to. And I also like, I would ask and she's like, no, like these are pretty good. And I'll be like, okay, fine.
thank you, Judy.